this, but if you're constantly self-sabotaging and you don't love yourself and you don't know how to identify your drifts and to create shifts, then I don't give a shit how many strategies and techniques you have, you will never be successful. Most of you on this call have more strategies and techniques than you could even possibly use, let alone needing more. So we keep seeking more and more strategies and techniques when the truth is, once you've gotten a certain amount of those, you already have plenty of value to add, and now it's just a matter of doing the inner game to get yourself to a state of self-mastery and empowerment to be able to execute relentlessly. So I'm going to do some screen sharing, and I'm going to be teaching some specific models. Let me check on your messages before we dive in. Just saying hi, beautiful, pause, hi, some more highs, hello everybody. James is going to be in and out and listen to the recording later today. Sean's excited about what we're covering. And yes, we are recording. Jonathan, and then Sean, camera off because of eating. Cool. We'll see you on the camera in just a moment. So I'm going to go ahead and dive right in. We're going to start with the learning cycle because this is the foundation of everything. So here's the context for this. Life is about learning. Life is about expanding. Life is about becoming the next greatest version of ourselves over and over and over again. And if we're not aware of the cycles of learning and what's taking place, and we don't know how to learn from life, then we are doomed to keep repeating history over and over again. If you ever ask yourself, why the hell do we keep repeating history as a society? Because we're freaking basically cavemen, running instinctually off of conditioned patterns rather than conscious, awake, aware patterns. We're not operating in life from a level of choice and awareness. We're operating on what were we conditioned with, what operating system was handed down to us from our parents. So if you think about it, if I were to hand my children a computer that my parents handed me, if you think about computers, we've only had them around for 20, 30 years or whatever, maybe even less, in the hands of consumers like you and I. And if I took a computer that was 10 years old and wanted it, we were talking about phones at the beginning of this call, and you were talking about an iPhone 4S, which is maybe 2 years old or 3 years old or whatever, and we're like, oh yeah, it's so outdated, blah, blah, blah. So literally a 3-year-old piece of technology, and we're like, oh, that's dinosaur. And yet we take an operating system that is the foundation for everything we create in our entire world, with our relationships, with our health, with our finances, with everything in our life, and we receive from our parents an operating system that is their way of thinking and their conditioned patterns that they hand down to us from their parents, who got it from their parents, who got it from their parents. There's a scripture that says, and the sins of the fathers shall fall upon the sons for 7 generations, or something like that. I always butcher scriptures because I'm not really a scriptorian. I'm not even religious. But I just love truth wherever it comes from. So it says, the sins of the fathers shall fall upon the sons for 7 generations. Well, this isn't because some son is damned to take on his father's sins. No, it's a choice to maintain the same operating system we were handed when we began our journey versus upgrading the operating system. Why the hell would you take a operating system that's been handed down for 7 generations and continue to try to operate everything in your world off of that premise? Why would you not search and find every virus and eradicate it? Why would you not receive and upgrade and update every hardware and every software you can possibly find to the operating system so that you can be the best, most optimal, ideal version of yourself? Find the bullshit patterns in your communication styles. Find the bullshit patterns in relationships that have been passed down to you. Find the bullshit personas that you took on as a survival mechanism that are controlling your life, and befriend them and loosen their grip so that you can be at choice about your life instead of continually reacting from your conditioned patterns. So if we don't understand, the problem is most of us aren't actually observing. We're not stopping long enough to step back from what's happening and observe what's happening from the outside. We're so caught up in the movie, in first-person point of view, believing that the movie is real, believing that the video game is real, so consumed by it, and in such a reaction mode to it, rather than a creator mode of saying what's happening, stepping back, viewing it from behind the scenes or above the scenes, getting a 360-degree view about what's actually happening, and in operating from a place of power, we get so sucked into the plot that we lose track of everything, and we react to everything. And we become at the effect of everything. So I wish I had my iPad set up. I didn't realize I was going to teach this principle, so I'm going to teach it on my whiteboard behind me instead. We're going to start here. That marker's tired, so I'm going to get a darker one. In our first phase of life, when we're born, we are born into a phase called life happens as me. And so my 3.5-year-old daughter, the first time I saw her beginning to move out of it, it's just like life is her. She is life. There's no separation between her and life. She's not consumed by feeling victimized or controlled by her outside environment. She just felt like she was life. She's just living life, and life was expressing itself through her, and there was nothing happening separate from that for her. The first time I witnessed her moving to the second stage, which is life happens to me, was when she was about 3 years old. I took her to the gym, and she didn't like the daycare at the gym. While I went and worked out and put her in daycare, she was riding along in the car. She was totally happy, sitting in her car seat. She couldn't see where we were going. She just knew we were going somewhere. We got out of the car, and she looked over at the building. She's like, "No, not the gym." And she started freaking out. And this was her first time I ever saw her have a response to feeling victimized, feeling like somebody or something outside of her was in control of her destiny, and being upset about that. And so the very first time that I witnessed or became aware of that happening for her was in this instance where she had her first instance of life happens to me. I was going along just fine. I was happy, and then something outside of me made me unhappy. And those continue to happen. So since then, she's seen me yell. She's seen me get scared. She's had me put her on timeout. She's seen me, all these things happen in her life, and she hasn't gotten her way. And we tell her no, and she does, whatever all the things are. And so over and over, she's moving further into the life happens to me phase. Dad makes me happy when he gives me things, so that's a happens to me. And notice the word make. So the wording is critical, because anytime anybody is saying make, like he makes me happy, she makes me mad, she fulfills me, he completes me, they did this to me, they did that to me, all of those are victim statements. No one makes you happy, no one makes you sad, no one makes you angry. No one makes you scared. No one does any of that to you. Even people say, yeah, I was really successful and then the economy went down and it made me broke. No, it didn't make you broke. You did. So if we want to be in a place of empowerment, we've got to move from life happens to me to a space of life happens by me. Life happens by me. We become the creator instead of the victim. This role of life happens to me is the victim role. By me is the creator role. Now, most people, literally 95% of people, spend their entire life in the life happens to me role. They spend their entire life believing that the economy made them broke, that their boss kept them stuck, that they would have been rich if they had won the lottery, or if Uncle Sam hadn't taxed them, or if the cops hadn't this. So literally blaming everything in their life on somebody or something outside of them. I wouldn't be pissed if she wouldn't say that. I would have been rich if this would have happened. A million frickin' excuses about why they are the victim to life. Why they were the victim to that communication, that argument, that relationship. I would have been successful, but then my wife had an affair and we got divorced and I lost everything. Bullshit, you would have been successful, but you gave up after one kick in the nuts. So if we don't move from the to me, life happens to me, I'm a victim at the effect of the world, and into life happens by me, then we don't get to be a choice. We don't get to create our life. We just get to have the scraps that get handed down to us. So the next phase is life happens through me. Life happens through me. Now this is a phase, here's how I want you to see this. It might be I grew up in an insecure home. My dad and mom didn't love themselves much. They were pretty insecure. They didn't teach me how to value and love myself and protect myself or stand up for myself. And so I get bullied a lot. So in my early age, in the first few years, I'm just an innocent child. I'm perfect. I'm just living. And then within a few years, I start to get majorly conditioned. And I move into life's happening to me. So I start to get bullied and picked on and all these things. And I make up a victim story. Now, if I stay in that story for the rest of my life, I will always feel like the underdog. I will always feel lesser than. I will always feel weak and powerless. And I will sit and reinforce my stories with how bullies are assholes and people are mean and you can't trust anybody and how I'm all alone and how life's always been hard and wham, wham, poor me. And if at any point I wake up from that, and that story can be replaced 100 times over, whether it's abandonment issues, bullying issues, I'm not worthy issues, fundamentally flawed. It's every damn issue we ever had that we made up to be about that it happened to me. You know, my parents abused me, this, that, blah, blah, blah. Story, story, story about what happened to me and why my life sucks today because of that. Now, if at any moment we switch that over to it happens by me, so in the bully scenario, it would be I go sign up and I say, you know what, I'm going to quit being the victim who gets bullied. I'm going to now be the creator who is fit and strong and capable of defending myself. Therefore, I'm joining a martial arts course. Now they've taken their life on and said, no more bullying. I'm creating something different. I'm not going to whine and cry and make excuses. I'm going to take responsibility and accountability for my life, my results, and create something new for myself. Now, when they first start this phase of by me, and they're taking the martial arts lessons, the chances are if they go back out on the street, they're going to get their ass handed to them. for months while they're learning the new By Me face. They're learning new skills. They're learning new mindsets. They're learning new ways of approaching life and everything that's going on for them. But eventually, when they've practiced these skills long enough and mastered them, they won't even have to think about it. Someone tries to hit or punch or hurt them in any way, instinctively they will know exactly what to do, and they will do it without even thinking about it. And that's when life begins to be the life happens through me phase. So in the beginning, as we work together, I want you to consider that when you were born, you were a perfect angel, and that you are a spiritual being having a physical experience, and that you are still perfect right now as you are, and that your essence, your spirit, is perfect, always was perfect, and always will be perfect, and it's impossible to flaw you at the soul level. That will always be perfect. It's only your brain and your body that you have allowed to become flawed because of what you've chosen to believe about being, being human. When you're not human, you're just doing humanness right now. Notice you're a human being, not a human doing. You're a human being, not a human doing. And you came here to be. You're doing humanity. You're doing a human experience as a spirit. And that spirit is perfected. It's the mind that's flawed. It's the operating system that's flawed just because of the viruses that we've taken on and the programs that we've taken on throughout our developmental stages. So in your first few years, life and really the effects of the conditioning start from the moment of conception, but early on, you were perfect, you're still perfect, but you started to forget you were perfect, believe you were a victim at the effect of life and forces outside of you, versus being a co-creator with the universe. So you began to adopt the life happens to me model. It's taught to you in every song you've ever listened to on the radio. It's taught to you in every movie you've ever watched on the TV or the big screen. It's taught to you from every relationship you've ever witnessed in your life. It has been modeled for you over and over and over again. It's in our court system. Look at our court system. There's always a victim, and there's always a villain, and there's always a hero. And we will get further into that, and it'll make more sense as we go on. But we have been conditioned in the ego mind, in the human experience, to believe ourselves to be victims. And the good news is it's on purpose. It's meant to be part of our journey to forget who we are so that we can remember who we really are and experience what it's like to be the light amongst the darkness. Because being the light from amongst the light, we couldn't actually identify ourselves or know ourselves for who we really are. We had to come as the light to the darkness to experience the contrast and truly know ourselves. So it's perfect that we've chosen to see life as a victim, and it's perfect that you've chosen to be here in this group, in this family, on these calls, doing this work, because you are some of the chosen ones who have chosen to wake up, be aware, and be conscious creators instead of reactionary victims. This gives you the ability to set your own stage, choose your own destiny, shape your own life according to your will in a co-creation with your creator, instead of being a whiny victim doomed to repeat patterns and carry on the sins of your fathers from generation to generation and handing off the same bullshit to your kids so that nothing ever changes. So you wake up and you say, screw that, I'm going to study martial arts. I'm going to study communication skills. I'm going to overcome my mindsets and limiting stories and beliefs around money. I'm going to learn skill sets that will empower me to thrive financially and be connected spiritually and kick ass in relationships and kick ass in business and thrive and truly have it all, because I'm not going to continue to be asleep in the victim pattern. I'm going to wake up from the matrix. I'm going to wake up from the illusion. I'm going to wake up from the holodeck, and I'm going to create my own reality by being aware of what's happening, choosing to take the pill that allows me to wake up and gain the truth and operate from a space of consciousness, a space of choice, a space of co-creation. So I move over to Buy Me and I start investing, making the most important investments of my life, investing in my human life value, investing in my operating system that affects all other areas of my life. Everything in my life boils back to here. How do I think? What are my mindsets? What am I locked into? So if your parents told you you were a piece of shit, or insinuated that money doesn't grow on trees, or told you that, there's so many things that they do to condition you to lower your thermostat setting and to fill your mind with viruses that keep you stuck in all areas of life. You've heard shit like, yeah, sex is great till you get married and then the sex goes away. Or relationships are awesome for the first year in the honeymoon phase and then it gets shitty and tough. Or, yeah, once you get past 30, your health goes downhill and you'll gain weight and you'll feel like shit and your body will start aching. Or a million other bullshit myths that have been fed to us, spoon-fed over and over and over again to keep us small, to keep us stuck, to get us to give up, hate life, hate ourselves, hate others, and play a bullshit game of wasting our life until we fucking die. Or we wake up and we say, bullshit, I'm the creator of my life. I take 100% responsibility for my results and my outcomes, and I will invest in my skill sets, and my mindsets, and my environment to create my desired outcome. There is an art and a science to life, and if I align with the correct principles that predicate the blessings I desire, I will receive those blessings. So I invest over and over and over in the number one investment I can ever possibly make, which is me. My mindsets, my skill sets, my environments, my human life value, so that I can provide more and more and more value in the world and make a bigger and bigger contribution to people's lives. And as a result of that, in the beginning, it's kind of a pain in the ass, the truth is. Because now, not only are you still dealing with the shit that you've created from the past, not only are you dealing with your past karma and your past creations and your past energy, frequency, and vibration and all that you've been attracting to yourself, you're still dealing with that because you haven't fully aligned to the new reality, and you're having to implement new skill sets, new mindsets, and study and implement and study and implement and gain practice and all this shit. So it's a pain in the ass in the beginning. But pretty soon, all the new skill sets that you're implementing, like instead of taking it personal when your lover or your friend or your business partner brings something up and has feelings, you stop reacting to that shit and you start using new communication skills and new ways of looking at things, and you start creating new results. And in the martial arts scenario, it's similar to, like, instead of maybe cowering like this and getting your ass handed to you, or instead of going in flailing like this and getting your ass handed to you, you implement a skill. And you actually use some skill and do it properly, and you create a different result. And pretty soon, if you practice and practice, I don't know if you've read Outliers. If you haven't read Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell, a great read, add it to your reading list and read it sometime. But in Outliers, he talks about a principle probably all of you have heard, and if you haven't, you're going to hear it now and you'll hear it in the future again. But we master something typically within 10,000 hours. Any given thing that we devote 10,000 hours to, we tend to master that thing, whether it be martial arts, whether it be lovemaking, whether it be marketing or sales or training or teaching or coaching or whatever. Your skill set and abilities will improve and improve and improve, and you reach a level of mastery typically around 10,000 hours. Now, there's some hacks to that and ways to reach that sooner, and there's other experiences that affect. So if we're successful in one area of life, that can apply to other areas. So there's a lot of factors in that, but in general, as a rule of thumb, 10,000 hours to achieve mastery. So if you practice all the skills that align with the principles that predicate the blessings that you desire, in 10,000 hours, you will have a thriving life, period. I don't give a shit who you are, where you came from, what your past is, what your parents did, what your siblings did. I don't give a shit who you are, anything. If you mastered, if you committed to becoming a master gardener, I don't care if you know not one thing about gardening, but you commit only to planting the garden, to learning from everything that happens, and to never giving up, and to becoming a master gardener, you will plant the seeds, you'll screw some shit up, you'll thrive on some things, you'll kill some things, you'll figure out why, you'll learn from it, you'll adjust, and within 10,000 hours, you will be a master gardener. The same applies to your business that you're launching right now. I don't give a shit who you are. There's times when you're tired and you're sad and you're scared and you're like, what the hell? I've been trying so hard for so long, and when am I going to get there? That's like planting the garden, and you plant it in April, and you worked it all of April, and you worked it all of May, and you worked it all of June, and you haven't gotten shit back from the garden. And you're tired, and you're like, man, I'm so tired. When am I ever going to get? Maybe I should give up. And if you give up at that point, you're about 2 weeks away from starting to receive something back from the garden. July, you're going to start receiving crops from the garden. It's finally going to give back, but there's a principle involved that says value follows value, meaning you provide the value to the garden first. Later, it will give back to you. This same principle applies to your business. Value follows value. Give the value first. Later, the value will come back to you. This is why we post every single day and contribute value. We don't get on and say, buy my shit, buy my shit, buy my shit. We get on and say, here's value, here's value, here's value, here's value, here's value, here's value, here's value. By the way, you may want to, take a look at this program. It's pretty epic and it'll rock your world. I do about a 20-to-1 ratio there. 20 times providing value, 1 time making an offering. In general, that's a rule of thumb. There's a lot of different factors, but that's a rule of thumb. So as we move into this I'm the creator of my life and life happens by me phase, we study and implement all these different skill sets and mindsets, and then ultimately they become our second nature, and we move into life happens through me. This is a beautiful place to be, because in the martial arts scenario, to be someone's trying to kick your ass and you're just like, oh, block, block, slap, block, block, smack. You don't even have to think about it. It's just like you can do this shit in your sleep without even trying. So this applies to your marketing. This applies to your sales. This applies to your coaching. When I first started coaching, I was all intense and trying to make sure I caught every single little thing and do it perfect and all this shit. Now after so long of doing it, I don't even remember how long, but I've got probably closer to 15 or 20,000 hours, so I'm a like double black belt or some shit. But at this point in the game, I just show up, I'm like, hey, where are we at? And I know I have a knowing within me. I don't give a shit who you are and where you're at. I can show up right here, right now with zero prep and rock your world. It's just, I just have that knowing. When I first started 10, 15 years ago, it's hard to say when the point was. I started 20-something years ago studying. I started 10 or 15 years ago actually coaching people, and then it's advanced throughout the years. But now it's just, it happens through me. In fact, if anything, I have to try to slow the damn river down, because I'll show up and I'll want to help people when they haven't agreed to it, they're not open to it, they haven't asked for it, they haven't paid me for it. Nothing, and I'm like, shut up, shut up, shut up. So there comes a time when it just starts to flow through you. The manifestation starts to flow through you. The expression starts to flow through you. The sales just happens through you. You don't even have to try. The marketing happens through you. You don't even have to try. It just happens. It's just second nature. So don't give up in June on any of it. And know that you are implementing a shit ton of information, skill sets and mindsets and all these new things in all these areas. We're talking we're not just covering one thing here. We're covering marketing and sales and packaging and products and services and relationships and communication and listening and personas and personal development and business and systems and platforms and technology and exercise and nutrition and diet and meditation and spirituality and study and all these things. This is a comprehensive, have it all, go all in on your life. I'm going to not just set a New Year's resolution to get in shape this year. No, I'm saying bullshit. I will take on my entire life. I will have it all. And I will master, study, and implement every skill set and mindset necessary to get there. Now, here's a few keys to this model. Typically, we run in this direction. In the as-me phase, as a baby, I don't even think about anything. Literally, if I want to crap, I just crap. If I want to pee, I just pee. Like there's no distinguishment between me and shit outside of me. I just am. And so, and the thing is, too, is as you cycle through life and you become an old man or woman, you might just crap your pants again and just not really care because you move back to that phase of life happens as me. I mean, here I am, crapping my pants. Hi, guys. Or you may be sitting up on a mountain as basically you're either going to grow old and just, you know, kind of check out and just be fully. No more doingness to be had or done. You've already done the whole doingness phase, and now you're just back to just being. Or you move into an enlightened state of consciousness like Buddha and other masters, Jesus, who ascended and transcended the body, who can truly just be. And they decide when they let the body go. They decide when their spirit transcends the body in this physical experience. And those guys, you can end it that way. It don't have to be through the painful death. Many, many masters have said, okay, on the 28th of this month, I'm going to go sit under that tree and I'm going to release my spirit. And they've done it. So the same thing is possible, to become in such an enlightened present state of being that the as-me becomes your reality, and you're done creating, you're done conquering the world and saving the world and making your contribution and expressing yourself, and you feel fully expressed, and you just move into this totally aligned, enlightened, peaceful, present place of flow and just like beingness, just and there's nothing to do. So that's available, and it's a very beautiful place, but none of you are in that place right now. You can go there, and you can even skip these two phases of by me and through me. The problem is the only way to go from as me, you go down to me, which is a requirement. If you're having a human experience, you are required to go to the to me phase. That's just part of the journey. That's part of the deal when you agree to come to this planet. So you come down and you experience life as a victim. If you want to head straight back and not do the whole loop, so what would that be? Rather than the scenic loop, you can take the direct route. There is a way to do that. Just turn right around and head back to as-me. And the way to do that is through extreme suffering. So if you don't want to have extreme suffering, I'm talking like lose everything you ever cared about. Lose your relationships, lose all your money, lose all your material possessions, have everything you ever falsely identified with from an ego standpoint. Lose all of that. Get over all your ego drama and your self-abuse and your trauma and your personas and all of your bullshit that's been impregnated into your brain. Just go face all of your deepest, darkest demons, have everything taken away from you, be crucified, and boom, you can head straight back up to as-me. Skip all the bullshit. But it's truthfully, it's not really a skip. It's just pay one hell of a price. It's the concentrated dose of pain, suffering, and struggle, and then head back. Now, the traditional journey is come over here to life happens by me, wake up, quit being a victim, become a choice, practice and implement a bunch of new skill sets and mindsets, and then move into that becoming second nature, experiencing life just flowing through you, being effortless, being totally aligned, living from within your zone of genius, doing what you love, being passionately fulfilled and connected with your career and your loved ones, and creating your ideal world, not what your dad said, not what your mom said, not what your neighbors said, not what society said, but actually knowing yourself. Knowing yourself. So there's an old saying says, the truth shall set you free. Well, my version of that is, know the truth of who you are. That is the truth that will set you free. So truly knowing yourself. So a lot of the ways that we know ourselves is to discover what we're not. So a lot of times we've been raised in Christian backgrounds or religious backgrounds or certain backgrounds where we avoid knowing what we're not. We avoid making mistakes. We avoid failing. And yet the failure is what empowers us. The facing into our fears is what empowers us. The stepping out of our comfort zone is what it takes to actually know ourselves, instead of repeating our conditioned patterns and staying stuck in our same bullshit results, doing the same things over and over again, expecting different results, which ends up being the true definition of insanity. So you can either live an insane life and be stuck, repeating the same shit over and over again, expecting different results, or you can actually get to know yourself, take 100% responsibility for every result in your life. Say that again. 100% responsibility for every result in your life. For your body, your relationships, your spirituality, your communication, your fights. Literally no one's to blame for anything in your world. And in fact, how about we just agree right now, let's alleviate the word blame, because blame is bullshit that someone else or I am to blame for something, which insinuates that there's a victim and a villain. How about we end all that drama, say fuck it, no one's to blame, and instead, how can I take responsibility to learn what's happening and how to create what I really want out of this scenario? So, for me, where I'm at in my life is I choose to alternate between these two zones. Life happening by me, life happening through me. Occasionally, I still move over here to life happens to me. Some victim story still surfaces occasionally, and I place as much awareness as possible to catch those and shift out of them back over to responsibility as quickly as possible. So I spend most of my time right now bouncing between life happens by me, life happens through me. And there will come a time when I'll be like, okay, I'm done with this game. There's no one left to save. There's nothing left to learn. I've been a warrior out in the field. I've been a lover. I've experienced this, that, the other. I know myself. I know who I am. I know who I'm not. I know what I love. I know what I don't. I am fully aligned with who I am, and I'm ready to just be. And I probably won't be shitting myself, but I'll probably disappear and be up on a mountain, one with all that is, and you may not hear from me again at that point. So that's my choice. That's how I'm approaching it, and I invite you guys to consider the same. Consider learning the shift moves, learning the drift and shift and the drama and the victim and the villain and the hero, and taking on a conscious approach, being awake and no longer at the effect of the things outside of you. Living a life totally at choice, at will, and knowing how to deliberately master your mind and choose your state of being in any given moment to move forward with power and presence instead of reacting to what happens outside of you. And then one day, when you're done with doing it as of today, I invite you to just commit. No more victim bullshit. From this day forward, never blame anybody again for anything. Not the cops, not the economy, not your market, not people, not your lover, not your friends, not your family, not your mom, not your dad, not your past. My invitation is alleviate the word blame and the mindset of blame from your entire life, for the rest of your life. And then from there, move into, I am the creator of my life 100%, and I am 100% responsible for every result in my world. And anytime life is not aligned with what I want it to be, instead of whining and crying and complaining about it, I will learn from it. I will learn everything possible from it. And then I will adjust. I will shift my paradigms, my stories, my beliefs, my limiting patterns. And I will move forward from that place in a new way to create a new result. And then I will constantly invest in my skill sets and my mindsets and my environment so that I can be empowered and create the true results that I desire and that I deserve as a creator. Like begets like. Peach trees produce peaches. Creators create creators. So you were created by a creator, therefore you are a creator. And as long as you think and act like a victim, you're not being a creator, therefore you are out of integrity with yourself. So integrity goes far beyond doing what you say you will do. That is step 1 of 52. Knowing yourself and being 100% aligned with your true nature is what it means to be in integrity. And I assure you, integrity and morality are two separate things. And you are out of integrity, all of us are out of integrity every day. It's a constant recommitment process as we master the game that we call life. You're not a piece of shit if you get out of integrity. Just be aware, love yourself, and recommit. And in fact, hating yourself and abusing yourself and beating yourself up for being out of integrity is out of integrity. Why? Because it's not who you truly are. Who you truly are is a perfect spirit, perfect being on a soul level. You're perfect. And so if you're abusing yourself and treating yourself like shit and feeling guilty and getting locked in some persona that beats you up for not being perfect, you're out of integrity. You're not aligned with your true nature. Over time, as you continue to invest in your skill sets and mindsets, you will reach mastery levels of dealing with conflict, dealing with struggle, dealing with drama, dealing with challenges and resistance, and becoming more and more of a powerful creator and expanding your capacity. And then it'll become second nature and life will just flow for you. Sean, right now, it feels tough. Holy shit, I want to get my wife on board and I want to get out of this job that I hate and it's so much. And in a year from now, you're going to look back and say, holy shit, I made that seem so hard. And knowing what I know now, holy shit, I was stuck in my own self-confined prison for no damn reason other than I didn't know how. And you're going to be like, wow, this is so much easier, and wow, I'm so glad that I see this the way I see it now. Same thing for every one of you. Rachel, self-confined prison of your fear of rejection and cells and blah, blah, blah. Sue, a frickin' wealth of knowledge and passion and care and so much to offer, but playing your bullshit games for how long? Because you don't have the proper authority, you don't have this, you're not qualified. Bullshit, you're so much more than qualified. It's just a couple of little mindset shifts, and when you look back, you're like, holy crap, why did I drag that out so long? And it'll become second nature for every one of you. And you just keep committing. So when you plant that garden and the spinach dies because you planted it in full sun and it only wanted partial sun, no big deal. Don't, it's not like, oh shit, my spinach died, I suck, I'll never be a good gardener. No. Okay, what happened? Let me study up on spinach. What happened here? Oh, they want partial sun. They were in full sun. And instead of watering every day, I needed to water every other day. I got it. I was supposed to let the soil dry out between waterings rather than keeping it wet all the time, because then it gets moldy and they get saturated and blah, blah, blah. Okay, so let's retry this again. You plant again. You recommit. You follow the principles that predicate the blessing you want, which is a lot of spinach. You put it in partial shade, you adjust the water content, and boom, voila, somehow every time you have plenty of spinach. It's not frickin' magic. It's just aligning. And if we don't pay attention, that's why Jesus constantly said, consider the lilies of the field, consider the dove, look at this, look at that, look at nature, look at these principles out there, pay attention, wake the fuck up, and look at what's happening out there. Pay attention to the principles that are governing the results around you and align with those principles instead of just staying asleep trying the same shit over and over again. If you plant the same spinach seed in the same place, same sun, doing the same watering pattern, of course it's going to die again. And no, it's not because God hates you. No, it's not because you have bad luck. No, it's not because you're being punished because of some stupid shit you did in the past. It's because you're not paying attention and adjusting. It's science. A heart surgeon or a doctor doesn't show up and say, well, for some reason, every time I cut this off, the patient dies. But I'm sure this is the right way. No, they're like, okay, this happened. This is the result. What can we learn from it? Okay, let's do it in a new way. That's what science brought to humanity. That's the beauty of science, is instead of being in the dark ages, believing that we have the plague because God hates us, it's, oh shit, it's hygiene. We just need to take baths instead of putting perfume over our stinkiness. Oh, wow, okay, makes sense now. And so bring some science into your lives. Like, and I don't mean go study science, I just mean pay the hell attention to the result. And if you don't like the result, try a different environment. Like if the petri dish keeps growing mold and you don't want to grow mold, then try it colder or hotter, or a different thing that you put in there, whatever. So run a different experiment, test it out, see what else you're going to experience. If you've already experienced being broke, try what would it be like to be wealthy. If you've already experienced living a life of scarcity, try on what does it feel like to not be in a life of scarcity. If you've already experienced dramatic relationships, try on and create what would it be like to have an amazing, compassionate, loving, connected, passionate, phenomenal relationship. How good can you stand it? Okay, so that sets the stage. I'm on a roll, so I'm gonna skip your reading material or all of your messages on the side. I'll catch up with those later. Let me find a handout here. It's got to be here somewhere. One moment. Invite you all to breathe, integrate, chat. Notice any patterns. Notice any awarenesses. Notice how this ties into your life. Oh, come on. All right. Okay, do you see this handout called the Learning Cycle?
Yeah, I see it.
Great. Okay, so here's how it goes. Watch my mouse cursor. Okay, so we're going along an ease and flow in life. And we're just cycling along. Everything's going good. So today we got up, we did our core 4, we felt great. Everything's going smooth. And then boom, got caught in traffic. Our wife, called you a name or got all upset or fearful about a money issue, or someone called you whatever, anything that happens that triggers you to get you out of ease and flow. Now, notice the words ease and flow. The opposite of ease is dis-ease, or a lack of ease. Lack of ease is the source of all disease. So what needs to be created within you that will allow you to be in a space of ease? And most of the time, it's just a shift in your perception. It's just a paradigm shift or a new way of looking at things. Instead of defending your position, it's getting curious, opening to wonder, and discovering something greater than what you currently believe that will allow you to create a different result and experience something different in your world. So there was so many limiting stories and belief for me in the beginning of believing. I mean, there was a time when I honestly believed and reinforced over and over, all women are bitches and whores. That was absolutely my reality, and I manifested it over and over again. I used to believe money was hard and scarce, and every time life got up, I was just going to get knocked down again. There was a million beliefs that I had. I don't know if it was a million. There was a ton of beliefs that I had that were creating a reality that was suboptimal for me. And so every time things showed up that didn't align with what I wanted, and I didn't know how to shift, I would be going along in ease and flow. Something would happen right here where something happens, and then I go into a drift and a reactionary state. Instead of a creator, I go into life happens to me, and I start reacting to what's happening outside of me, and I get down here into the fight or flight response. I go to the base of my brain where survival mechanism kicks in, and all I can think about is fight or flight, which allows us only 4 options, which is I can fight, I can flee, I can freeze, or I can faint. And these aren't just all physical things. It's like freeze is like you just go, you freeze up and you just don't do anything. So silent treatment is often a freeze move, or it can even be a flee move. It can be like, I'm fleeing just by not talking to you anymore, versus speaking unarguably. There's so many skill sets we haven't even touched on yet with you guys that just know there's so much coming that will completely bless your world on how to communicate, how to listen, how to be in a relationship, how to identify your personas, how to know what's actually going on in the world. There's so much that we have to share with you. So look forward to an amazing, amazing journey. Now, fainting is often, it can be as simple as a sigh and a collapsing on the couch, just plop into the couch. So now we look here, and you've got hero, you've got villain, and you've got victim. So this down here is the drama triangle. This is where all drama takes place. Every argument you've ever had is drama. Every argument you have in your mind about going to the gym in the morning is drama. Every argument you have in your mind about how you do all this for your wife and she doesn't do that and blah, 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 and maybe the blah and the blah and the blah and the blah, all drama. All that's happened is you've upper limited. You were going along in ease and flow, kicking ass. Everything was great, feeling awesome, feeling wonderful. Something happened. You went into the drift, went into drama, and started going into drama in your own head, which created drama outside of you. Because your internal world becomes your external world. Who you are being on the inside becomes what you are experiencing on the outside. Now the bad news is that whatever role you're playing, you attract the other 2 roles. So if you are in a position of hero, you are attracting victims and villains. And if you are playing a role of villain, you are attracting victims and heroes. And if you're playing a role of victim, you are attracting heroes and villains. So being on any of those roles, and typically people think, oh, being the hero is the place to be. That's the good spot. No, it's not. The place to be is up here in ease and flow in a space of essence. Being who you truly are, serving from a space of love, not a space of saving. Because saving somebody requires them to be broken and needing to be saved and needing to be fixed, which requires them to be a victim, which instantly moves you from being in a relationship to being in an entanglement, because relationships only exist between equals. Relationships cannot exist between non-equals. And the second you step on the hero role, you are seeing the other person as a victim who is less than you and you being more than them. If you think you need to save them, it's because you think you're better than them. You think you're smarter than them. You think you're stronger than them. You think you're more capable than them. And you're not. You're a clown who's on an ego trip, who's holding someone else small and stuck in their smallness. This applies to your sales calls. When someone's like, oh, excuse, wine, I can't, oh, and you play that in, you play into that with them, you're joining them on the drama triangle saying, oh, you're right, you are a victim, you are small, you are weak, you can't do it, here, I'll save you, I'll let you off the hook, I don't want you to be uncomfortable and step outside your comfort zone and expand into greatness and being the greatest version of yourself, because no, I just want to hero you so I can feel like a really good person, and that way you won't feel any feelings, and then you'll be happy, but you'll be stuck and you'll be small and you'll be a pansy and you'll have a half-assed life because I'm too big of a pansy to stand up for your greatness and step into my essence and meet you in your essence beyond all the bullshit and empower you to be the best version of yourself. Instead, we'll just play a bullshit game so that I can maintain your approval and your acceptance, and you can continue with your status quo, which is why we got on the call, was to get you out of your status quo, but I'm too big of a pansy to help you get out of it. So I'll just keep playing this game of smallness and seeing you as small, and we'll just carry on. It'll be easier for both of us. That way neither of us have to get out of our comfort zone, okay? I hope you like my victim voice, my weak little pansy victim voice. So, and I'm not seeing your faces. Hopefully we got a few smiles out of it. Okay, so victim, villain, hero, the grip, and the drama triangle. This is not a place of power. This is a place of reaction. So when the key is to begin to recognize when we are creating the drift. Something happens, we're drifting, and recognize it and consciously choose, no, I will not go to my default patterning. I will not go to my conditioned patterns. I will not go to my central repeating patterns. I will not operate from that fight or flight survival mechanism. I will not operate from that computer or operating system that my parents handed down to me. No, I will instead consciously be awake and aware of what's happening, and I will operate from a place of choice and conscious creation. And so then I recognize the drift and I do something to shift consciously. I say, okay, what will get me out of this drift, back into a place of power, back into a place of present, back into the now, back into a space of ease and flow. And so you'll notice right here, looking at my cursor moving here, there's a few of the shift moves listed here, and in a moment I'm going to close this sheet and I'm going to open the drift list and the shift list so that you can see clearly what happens to create the drift for you and what happens to create the shift for you. So wonder is a shift move. Recommitment is a shift move. Breathing and moving is a shift move. And playing with personas is a shift move. So what does this mean? Let's go through these one at a time. Wonder. If you've ever, and we've done this exercise before, but for the sake of the recording, let me describe it this way. When you try really hard to figure something out, and you just, or like to remember something, and you just can't remember it, and then finally you give up, and then all of a sudden it comes to you, That's what happens when we're stuck on defending our position and being right. It's kind of like people say, would you rather be right or would you rather be rich? Or would you rather be right or would you rather be happy? And so shifting from a space of defense to wonder allows us to shift that from being right to being happy and actually discovering a solution, so we can wonder like, I wonder what I can learn from this. I wonder how I'm setting this up to be this way. I wonder how I created this to be a fight. I wonder how I'm creating this drama in my world right now. I wonder what all I can learn and shift about this to create what I really want. Or a bunch of other powerful questions. A key is the quality of your questions determines the quality of your life. The quality of your questions determines the quality of your bank account. So learning to ask new questions instead of questions like, why does this always happen to me? To, I wonder what I'm doing to create this and what I can do to create what I really want. And so turning and noticing, am I asking quality questions that will transform my life, or am I asking bullshit questions that will keep me stuck and dig me deeper into my bullshit world, my half-assed status quo world? So opening up to wonder is a critical shift move, and there's all of that we cover today, guys. I don't have time to go into depth, and like we could go on for a month on just the content we're covering today to get it in a body-centered learning experience for you. But today I want you to grasp it from the surface level, from the tip of the iceberg. I want you to just start to get the concepts so that you can begin to apply them to your life, and later on when you attend a Badass Breakthrough Adventure or one of our amazing live events, you can get a hands-on body experience of all that I'm talking about, because we have experiential learning processes that we guide you through that take all of this to a much, much deeper and more empowering level. But that gives you the surface of what it means to wonder and create a shift through wonder. Now, recommitment. If we look at a plane, the shortest path between 2 points is a straight line, and a plane's path is typically a straight line if you were to look on their flight plan. But what actually happens is they spent 99% of their time off that course, and only a fraction of the time on that course. And the key move is to not freak out when they realize they're off course, but to just recommit. Okay, I'm off course, recommit. Oh, I committed to being in shape and eating healthy, and I ate chocolate cake last night and gave in, and I binge ate last night. And instead of beating yourself up and annihilating yourself and self-abusing and all the crap that you do and going down into the drama triangle in your own head of self-abuse and victim, villain, hero on yourself within the committee of your own mind, I swear it's insanity. You just go, okay, I get it. I stepped off course. I love myself. And you step back on course. I mean, think about it. If you were on a hike, climbing to the top of a mountain, and you took the wrong trail, would it make a lot of sense to sit there for hours or days, sitting there in a conversation? What's coming to my mind is Gollum on Lord of the Rings. I don't know, some of you may have not seen it, but like that's a classic example of the drama triangle within your own head. You can sit and be a Gollum and go talking to yourself for a day or a week or a month or a year or a lifetime about what a piece of shit you are for going off course and what the hell were you thinking and holy shit, when are you ever going to learn? Or you can just say, oh, wow, got off course, love myself, cool, what do I need to do to get back on course? Great, let's re-course correct and we'll cut back over and get back on course, and boom, you're back on course, no drama, no bullshit, no waste of time, no waste of energy. So recommitment in and of itself, cutting out all the crap and just loving yourself and getting back on course gets you to commit. That's how you become the master, and that's how you get the desired objective in the quickest, easiest way possible. If you spend all your time in drama, beating yourself up and analyzing everything, or you can change the word analyze to analyze, like, shit, it's hard. Don't make it hard for yourself. Get over yourself. Get over your addiction to drama. Because every time you return back to this drama triangle about being right, fight or flight response, stress, overload, all the bullshit, anything that's not ease and flow, you are simply reacting, and you are reinforcing the old patterns, and you are sticking yourself to continue to get the old results. And every moment that you waste is a moment that it's going to take that much longer, times 2, to get to your destination. Because not only do you waste the time that you could be moving in the right direction, sitting there on the wrong path in your drama till you finally decide to move forward, you are sending out a ripple of energy in the universe that will continue to screw with you, and that same drama that you're addicted to creating in that moment will rear its head more in the future on the next time you get off course, because whatever muscle you are utilizing becomes stronger. So if you are exercising your drama, fight or flight response, your drift response, you will become a more powerful drifter. If you are exercising and strengthening your shift response and your conscious choice, you will become a more conscious shifter. So not only is it wasting the time that you're spending in the drama, you can count on that will come back up and want to re-manifest. It's what they call karma. What you put out there comes back. Everything you put out there ripples out into the universe and ripples out into eternity and affects. So however long you spend in the drift today, expect that to come back to you and affect you that much longer, that much harder in the future. So I'm telling you, there was a scripture said, "Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, all else will be added unto you." It's no joke. Seek ye first to be in ease and flow and peace and joy and power and presence, and watch how everything else just automatically lines up for you. Be, and then you will have. So how the hell do you be in a state of being? You shift. You count on yourself, and you develop the skill set and the mind mastery and the ability to shift your state of being reliably, regardless of what the hell happens outside your world. I don't care if your spouse had an affair on you. I don't care if your spouse left you. I don't care what drama you're going through. I mean, I care. I don't want you to suffer. But what I'm saying is, no excuse to keep you, like, I don't care if you can't pay your bills right now. If you're sitting thinking, yeah, I'll stop stressing as soon as I pay your bills. Bullshit. You'll pay the bill, and then you'll go back into your same old pattern of stress because you're addicted to stress. Because whatever you do, whatever you think, your body pumps out peptides and hormones, goes down in your body, your receptor sites in your cells become addicted to those hormones, and they call for more of them, and then you keep sending more of those. If you're addicted to stress and you stress today, then that means you're going to stress tomorrow. If you say, I will be at peace once I have money, bullshit. Chances are you're not going to get money, and even if you do get money, you're still going to be stressed when you get it because you're going to fear that you're going to lose it, and then you'll stress that if you lose it, you'll be stressed, and so you'll be stressing about what's not even there in the first place. You've got now. And anytime you're in the future or the past, you do not have power. So being right here, right now, and saying, I don't give a shit whether I have money or not. I don't give a shit whether people approve of me or not. I don't give a shit if I'm in a torture camp being tortured to death and I have nothing and I've lost everything and they're killing me and I'm thirsting to death and my body's in utter pain and I have zero material possessions, no title, no one seems to love me, and I'm all alone. I can be at peace in that moment. And if you haven't reached that level of mastery, you've built your world and your so-called sense of confidence on a sandy foundation. If your confidence is based on your bank account, your relationship, your health, your body, your anything, you are frickin' screwed, because the second that goes away, you lose your confidence, you lose your certainty, you lose your happiness, and boom, you're at the effect of the outside world. If you want to be a master, and you want to be able to stand on your own 2 feet no matter what happens outside your world, you will prepare yourself, you will heal every unloved place within yourself, and come to a place of peace with everything within you, your light, your darkness, your weakness, your strength, your everything, so that no matter what happens outside of you, you are in a place of power. You are in a place of presence. and you are in a place of choice. So that if you lose everything and you're being crucified in any way, or you're in a prisoner of war camp and you are being tortured to death, thirsting to death, starving to death, with nothing and nobody, that you're sitting there happy, that is true mastery and that is true success. Now, I'm not saying you need to struggle and I'm not saying you need to suffer. I'm saying, how about we become so happy and fulfilled with nothing that when we have something, we actually appreciate it, and we get to enjoy both the benefit of being at peace, being truly free, being truly in a state of joy, and reaping the reward and the benefit of all those things, so that we get the best of both worlds, heaven on earth, here, now, and having an unshakable heaven on earth state of being within me that nothing outside of me can ever take away from me. So the next shift move on here is breathe and move. Why? Because the fight or flight response requires that I stop breathing. It requires that I lock into a contracted state in my body that will lock me in to a contracted state in my mind. So if I will breathe deeply and consciously, consistently, every time I start to get upset, every time I start to go into a drift or get into a contracted state, and one way you can know that you are into a drift is if there is contraction anywhere in your body. If you want to start catching this shit sooner and sooner instead of reacting to your world, scan your body consistently all throughout the day and notice, is there tension in your neck? Is there tension in your head? Is there tension in your stomach? Is there contraction anywhere in your body? And if there is contraction in your body, there is a lack of ease and flow. There's something that's been dammed, which means stopped in progress, stopped in forward motion, stopped in expansion, just like damming a river, and it will begin to become stagnant and moldy and cause cancer and disease of all sorts in your life. So stop, scan your body, notice where the contracted state is, notice the mind and what's tied to it, and make a shift deliberately, consciously, in every moment. This is the path to salvation. This is the path to total liberation. And let me take that back. There is not just one path. There are infinite paths, and the only person who's wasting his time is the one going around telling everyone else they're on the path. But this, and there's many forms of it, is a path to your freedom, to your liberation, to your joy, to your heaven on earth. Being aware and consciously choosing. So breathing and moving your body in creative ways. Not in an unconscious way, because you have to be conscious, you have to be creative. You have to move from the fight or flight response of the primal part of your brain and move up to your frontal lobes where problem solving exists. So breathing and moving is the opposite response that the fight or flight requires, and it moves you to a state of power. The next one is playing with personas. Now what we typically do is try to get rid of ego, try to get rid of our personas. Well, if we try to get rid of ego, it digs its heels in deeper. If we try to get rid of personas, they dig their heels in deeper, and they become entrenched, and they lock in, and we lose power. And they control and dominate our lives. So the more that I hate, so if you look at your parents and you say, well, I don't want to be like my dad. He was a floozy. He was a loser. He was a pansy. He was this. He was mean. He was, whatever. Then you lose power. If you say, I don't want to be like my mom. She was a whiny victim. She was a doormat. She was this. She was that. You lose power. So every persona, I don't want to be a perfectionist. I don't want to be a know-it-all. I don't want to be a good student. I want to be a rebel. All this stuff. I don't want to make a mistake. I don't want to look stupid. I don't want to look unprofessional. I don't want people to not like me. All the personas that we show up in are perfectionists and our know-it-all and our unworthiness and our self-righteousness and all the other personas. One, we don't want them to keep controlling us. Two, we don't want to try to get rid of them or they will continue to control us. There is power in our personas. We just want to be at choice about how we are utilizing them instead of them running our life. There will be a committee in your head. We all have committees in our head. The question is, am I directing the committee or are they directing me? So in a moment, I'm now going to shift over to the drift list and the shift list and cover some stuff so that you guys can understand more clearly what it means to drift and start to catch your drifts more quickly, and then what it means to shift and how to create those more reliably. And then we're going to go into personas so that you guys can understand how those have been affecting your life and how to get those to stop affecting and controlling your life. So here we have the drift list. And I want you to start writing down what are these key words on this list that you tend to do. And I want to stop for a moment and give credit to my mentors. I've had some of the most amazing mentors in the entire world, and I have been incredibly blessed. And you know, some of this comes from me. Some of this has been inspired through some of my deep, powerful experiences of doing 65-day juice fasts and 10-day silent meditation retreats and all this kind of stuff. But tons of this content came from other people, amazing mentors. And the value of receiving a mentor is just priceless. Climbing a 10-year mountain to accomplish these things versus hiring someone who's already accomplished these things to conquer that same 10-year mountain in a year, you would be insane not to. If you guys had not invested in this training right now, you would spend the rest of your life and never learn these things likely. So investing and receiving that help and receiving each other's gifts and talents and abilities helps us move through so much more and have such a more fulfilling and accomplished life. It's just priceless. So look down this list, and some of the words you won't understand, and that's okay. You will come to understand them more as we move forward. So criticizing is a drift, blaming, judging. Now, cleaning isn't always a drift. It's a drift when you're doing it to escape a feeling, and you're actually losing energy as a result of it. So some of these, the way you know for sure whether it's a drift or not is, so like watching TV might enliven you, and another time it might drag you down. So the way you know if you're in a drift is if you sat down to watch TV and you find yourself watching something that enlivens you and is bringing you to life and helping you feel more and more vitality, then you're not in a drift. If you are you sit down to watch TV, and the longer you sit there, the less energy and vitality you have, you're in a drift. Same with cleaning. So if you've ever been super pissed off at someone and just start cleaning shit up, you're in a drift. You're not dealing with your emotions. You're not communicating authentically and unarguably. You're not creating the shift. You're caught up in the drift and you're continuing. Rehearsing is running shit over and over in your head. Judging, analyzing, consuming, controlling. You could consume food and go buy stuff and consume money and material objects. And some people think that, oh, if I go buy a new expensive purse or shoes, then I'm going to feel better. Or if I go clean or whatever. So, or if I go eat over the top of my feelings, that'll help me feel better. No, it's just going to make you fatter, slower, and stupider. Okay, so anticipating is like, oh, worrying about the future, and concealing is hiding what you're feeling because maybe you judge that feeling angry is bad and you don't want to lash out and be the jerk that your dad was when you were young, and so then you hide your feelings and your anger instead of saying simply, I'm angry, or I feel angry right now. We think that we have only two options, like an either or. Either I can yell and lash out and blame and attack this person, or I can shut up and give them the silent treatment. Or you could just say, I notice I feel angry right now. I don't want to do anything stupid or mean or harmful, so I'm going to take a walk or take some space, or I'm going to breathe and move and create a shift so that we can actually solve this problem and create the result that we both actually want. Oh, and by the way, another shift move is appreciation. I appreciate you being here and caring and having this conversation with me. So we'll go more into the shifts in a moment. So anticipating, controlling, analyzing, policing. Policing can look like, hey, that's not the way we do things around here. Yawning, you know, rather than saying, I notice I'm not interested in this topic, we sit and continue to yawn and, smile and nod and act interested, versus being authentic and saying, you know, I really don't want to talk about this. How about we talk about something else? Or, hey, I'm going to move forward. I appreciate you talking with me. I'm going to move forward and go talk with this guy or go have this experience. Instead, we continue to suffer as a victim, and then what our body language now demonstrates, oh, I'm yawning. Why? Because I got bored 25 minutes ago, and I'm not committed to creating my ideal world. I'm not committed to living an authentic life. I'm not committed to creating authentic relationships. And so I just keep showing up half-assed and faking and being inauthentic and not creating what I truly want and not helping you to shift either. So you'll continue to talk about shit that people aren't interested in, even though their body language clearly demonstrates that they're not interested, and therefore your relationships will continue to suck because I think I need to be your hero and talk nice and act interested even though I'm not, because I think I'm more committed to being in an entanglement with you than in a relationship. So then we're worrying is also a drift, getting embarrassed is a drift, being sarcastic, getting sick, thinking that you're not enough, lecturing, figuring it out, withdrawing, freezing, getting tired, getting busy, being a good student, correcting, whining, not breathing, assuming, procrastinating, rising above it, justifying, procrastinating, I'll say again because several of you mentioned that you have a pattern of procrastinating. That's a drift. It's something you don't want to feel, that you're avoiding, so that you can stay in your comfort zone. So seeking approval and assuming and ignoring and getting righteous and interrupting and getting silly. And even when you say, this is serious, you're in a persona and you're in a drift. The truth is, seriously, nothing is serious. Pun intended. So doing it right, making sure to do it perfect, getting locked in a perfectionist persona, organizing, intellectualizing, injuring yourself is a drift. Getting worried, getting sick, getting body aches, getting distracted, daydreaming, all drifts. Now, many of these things can be done in a way that's effective, and many of them are often done in a way that's ineffective. And again, like I say, there are body experiences that can be had with all of these. Today, we are having a head learning. You will get the body learning in the future at a live event, and you will get the body learning as you continue on throughout life. And this begins to settle in as you see it happening in real life experience. You're like, oh, that's happening. Oh, I get it. And you'll start to see this in the songs. Notice the next time you turn on the radio, next time you listen to a song, notice every single one of them is drama. Every one of them. That's what entertains the ego mind, is drama. They wouldn't, a song that wasn't drama wouldn't sell. A movie that wasn't drama in some form wouldn't sell. So it doesn't bring us peace, but it does bring us that addictive adrenaline rush that we become incredibly addicted to. So in life, the number one most addictive substance in the world is not crystal methane or speed or cocaine or sex or heroin or any of that. It is adrenaline. Over the course of your entire life, you will consume about 1 tablespoon of adrenaline. Over the course of your entire life, you will consume about 1 tablespoon of adrenaline. Yet, every argument you've ever had and every drama you've ever experienced and every upset and challenge and struggle that sent you into dis-ease and lack of flow and power and presence created an adrenaline rush. And the reason why we go back there over and over again is just like the junkie who goes back to his drugs, we go back to our adrenaline because we can't handle being in ease and flow and peace and freedom and joy and presence. And we can't handle it for too long. The average person stays in ease and flow for no longer than 15 seconds. And so the journey becomes, how long can I stay in ease and flow? How good can I handle life being? Could I have a life where I only do what I love to do and I only have relationships with people who are epic and our communication is epic, and our connection is epic, and the results are epic, that I'm not settling in any area of my life, that I truly am committed to having it all in every area, total peace, total freedom, total joy, with or without anything, and having everything. How good can you stand it, and how long can you stand it that way? And what can you do every single day to expand how good you can extend it, how good you can stand it, and what can you do every single day to expand your capacity to have it that good for longer and longer and longer periods of time? Those are questions worth asking, and those are answers worth waiting and opening up to receive, and worth aligning with and creating as your new norm. So now let me find the shift list, which is about, this is the stuff I can do to shift out of the drama and create what I really most want in my world. I can breathe, a pattern called the yes breath, and we could teach you a 3-day workshop, myself or Kyle, on this topic in and of itself. I've gone to multiple 3, 4, 5-day trainings just to learn how to breathe in a way that puts me in an ecstatic or state of oneness with my Creator, simply through the breath. You can heal birth trauma and disease, and there's many studies that indicate that all disease is just a lack of oxygen in the cells. And half of that boils down to toxicity in the air and pollutions and toxins in our food and toxins in our thoughts and all of that. But one of the key shifts to all of that, from a mental, energetic, and all those other states, because at a higher frequency vibration in our body, disease can't exist. And we control the frequency and vibration of our body by what we think and the hormones that we produce and the energy that we bring to our life. And the breath, and it's said in the scriptures, and God breathed breath into the nostrils of man, or breathed life into the nostrils of man. Breath, breath, breath. To aspire, to inspire, is to breathe. And it's one of the most powerful things we can go to. It shifts us out of the fight or flight. So just consciously breathing deeply and incorporating your spine and expanding up and contracting down. And I could go on and on, but we don't have time. So just think, breathe in through your nose, out through your nose in 6-second cycles, and breathe deeply into your stomach and breathe deeply completely out. And don't pause at the top or the bottom. Breathe all the way in and all the way out with no stopping, and keep that in a continuous loop and a continual flow of in and out, and watch how your body releases stress and strain and pressure regardless of what's happening outside of you. You can generate a state of peace and freedom and joy and happiness and power and presence in any given moment, no matter what is happening to you or to your body or outside of you. So go ahead and take a moment right now while I take a drink so my throat can be watered and I can finish this out strong. Take a few breaths and allow yourself to integrate and feel tension melt away. Control your state right here, right now. Breathe and watch how you can change your state just by choosing. My favorite juice of all time, I'm drinking fresh squeezed organic celery, cucumber, lemon, ginger. So delicious, so thirst quenching, so revitalizing, so cleansing and alkalizing, and just vital, live, clean, pure life force energy with very little carbs, very little sugars, and anything that's harmful. Just pure vitality, super simple, super fast. Best juicer ever to have that make it the quickest ever. And the easiest cleanup is the Breville, Breville, super, just amazing. And rather than high carb, high starch, high sugar, like a lot of, carrot juice and beet juice and a lot of certain things are high in sugars, fruit juices. This is just a phenomenal drink to vitalize, but not overload on carbs. Give it a shot sometime, and you can adjust the quantities. I usually do about 50% celery juice, maybe 25-30% cucumber juice, and then throw in a 1 or 2 inch chunk of ginger, and then maybe a whole lemon, and it's just phenomenal. I'm on my 2nd quart of it today. I'm currently using those as my snack times to give me energy in between things without loading up with a ton of calories or carbs. All right, so looking down the shift list, the next shifts you will see, we've covered recommitting. Tossing is a powerful communication tool that we'll want to cover sometime. It's really, the short version is, anytime you are in an intense conversation or in a conversation where you want to create stuff, if you're in a business scenario and you want to create powerful solutions, instead of talking on and on and on, like in this call, this is a one-sided conversation. I'm covering a ton of material in a short period of time. So this is me talking 100 miles an hour for like 2 hours, boom, 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 boom. If we were in an intense argument, you would have left the conversation like 2 minutes in. If we were in a business setting and we were co-creating solutions and trying to create some epic new product or service, you would have had a hard time staying. It's just me talking. Me talking, me talking, me talking. Because this is engaging in material and it's so empowering and makes such a difference, you're able to stay engaged in this teaching/training environment. But in a different environment, you want to use the skill of tossing. Whether you're in an argument or a co-creative environment of any sort, the skill of tossing is pretty simple. I toss an idea, you toss an idea. I toss, you toss, you toss, I toss. Just like a game of playing catch with a ball, we toss back and forth until we create what we both most want in a win-win scenario with no compromise. No one sacrificing or compromising on any level. Both people leaving, creating exactly what they want, because anytime you compromise, you have created a lose-win scenario, which is actually not a lose-win. It is a lose-lose, because we are all one, we are all connected, and anytime I lose, you lose, and anytime you lose, I lose. So win-win is the only win. It is the only solution, and self-sacrifice means somebody lost. And when you self-sacrifice, you did it because you moved on to the hero position, saw them as the victim, and you will later resent them, move on to the villain role, and attack and crucify them because of the choice you made. It's not because of what they did, it's because of what you did. So continuing to toss until you find the true win-win will allow you to remain off of the drama triangle and into conscious creative power. So tossing back and forth. Now, we like to add a skill set in communication called one-out breath statements, and this is something I want you guys to use on your Monday accountability and breakthrough calls, which is one-out breath statement means I breathe in, and I can only speak as long as I can speak until I run out of breath and need to take another breath. And once I need to take another breath, I don't get to say anything else because that would be too long of a toss and you wouldn't be able to stay present with me. And that's it, and now it's your time to talk. So a one-out breath statement. So anytime you are in a setting where you have a group that's trying to get through a lot of content in a short period of time, drop all your stories, drop all your bullshit, and do a one-out breath statement. Anytime you are in an argument and you want to resolve that argument, go to one-out breath tosses so that they can stay present with you, and you toss back and forth so it's an equal conversation instead of one person dominating and controlling the conversation. That way you can create resolve. Or anytime you're in a business setting, instead of dominating or controlling, same principle applies. Okay, creative joint play. All this is moving your body in creative ways that you've never moved it before, finding new ways over and over again to move. You look really awkward and weird when doing this, but it requires that you get up into your creative part of your brain, which allows you to move out of the fight or flight part of your brain. So just the creativity of moving your body in new, weird ways automatically shifts your state. Einstein said it best, no problem can be solved from the same state in which it was created, and so we must shift our state to solve our problems, whether it be financial or relationships or health or spirituality or fulfillment or purpose or significance or whatever it is we're looking for in life. We must shift our state of being to generate a solution. And one of the number one ways to do that is to breathe and move your body in creative ways, because it automatically sends your mind up to the frontal lobes where creative solutions are generated. And once you're up there, you're able to access all kinds of new material and solutions and possibilities, rather than just killing somebody or running away from them, or attacking somebody and running away from them. So the next shift move, giving and receiving appreciation. So say my wife says, you work too much and you never spend time with me and the kids. I could be like, bullshit, you never appreciate me. I'm doing this for us. Blah, 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 blah. And we can argue and go into the drama triangle. Or I can say, you know, honey, I really appreciate that you want to spend time with me, and that you want to have a quality life and be the best mom that you can be and have me be the best dad that I can be. And I appreciate you giving me that feedback, because the truth is, being the best father and husband I can be is higher on my values than earning money and contributing to the world and doing all these things. It's very incredibly important to me. So thank you for the feedback. Thank you for loving me so much. Thank you for being honest. Thank you for expressing yourself. Thank you for being authentic and real and vulnerable. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And boom, we create a shift instead of drama. Even though it would have been very easy for me to justify feeling victimized by her giving me that feedback and then going into my whole spiel of defending why I work so much, etc., etc. And that's just one example of infinite examples of how we can change something from drama to power, to creativity, to solution. Okay, next shift move, making it bigger. When I'm pissed off or I'm feeling overwhelmed, instead of ignoring it and carrying it around like a backpack loaded with rocks that I keep adding more rocks into, exaggerating it and getting dramatic on a conscious level, not unconsciously creating drama, but consciously getting dramatic. So sometimes I'll do this with my wife. So maybe I'll be like, you never appreciate me. And so instead of like, well, you don't appreciate me, all serious, I'll get playful and dramatize it. You just don't appreciate me and love what I do, and get all funny with it. And then we both laugh, and the whole drama's over in 2 seconds, because I just quit taking myself so damn serious. And I made the drama bigger instead of trying to suppress it. Okay, so ask a wonder question. We talked about that. Loving your experience. So I don't care what you're going through. It could be back pain. It could be an injury. It could be that your spouse is sick. It could be that you're going through a divorce. It could be that you're struggling financially. Whatever you're going through, your higher self chose that to teach yourself what you most needed to learn in this moment. And you can either sit and resist that and judge it and believe that it's the wrong experience and feel victimized and be pissed off at God and life and the world, or you can say, this is absolutely the perfect experience. I'm so grateful for everything that I'm learning. I'm going to stop, breathe, meditate, connect, be inspired, and realize what I'm learning from this and why I would create this and what I'm trying to teach myself from this experience, so that I can expand to the next level and experience my next level of happiness, joy, peace, and success. Thank you for this experience. It's absolutely perfect. And shift your paradigm of victimhood about how you're having the wrong experience. You are never having the wrong experience. You are always having the perfect experience. So feeling your feelings is a huge one. We were all taught in one form or another in 100 ways to not feel our feelings, to not express our feelings, to suppress, to hide our feelings. You want a classic example of this, go watch the cartoon Frozen. It is the reason why that movie is so popular is it's exactly what we have done in society. Don't feel, conceal, don't let them know. So we all do that. We've been conditioned to do that. At the age of 3, or at birth, we had over 3,000 movements. By the age of 6, we had it narrowed down to 300 movements. We lost 10 times what our ability and what we had access to just by the age of 6. And so we lost that in our body movements, and we lost that in our expression, our feelings, trying to fit in and be liked and accepted and approved and not get in trouble and all the different shit. And we developed all these personas to survive and get along in a crazy world rather than just being ourselves. So one of the #1 liberations is truly freeing ourselves to just express us as us rather than as someone else, rather than as everybody else. To truly be us and create a life that is fully aligned with our true nature. So feeling your feelings fully and being present with them. Now the good news about this, many people have eating disorders and smoking challenges and drug challenges. If anyone would just stop and breathe and feel their feelings, they would create a shift and a different experience that would, oh wow, my this awesome support that and creating support in our lives is so powerful. My support just brought in these amazing lettuce wraps, high protein, lots of veggies, just delicious. So guys, like spending 100% of your time in your zone of genius is so worth it. I have people take care of my yard work and prep my food and clean my house and do my laundry and everything. And the same, like, don't sit and tell yourself that a woman's job is this and a man's job is this. Stop and create your own reality. What does your wife or spouse love to do? What does your husband or spouse love to do? Empower them to do only what they love to do and quit trying to force them into doing shit they don't truly want to do. Learn to honor your authentic yeses and nos and honor their authentic yeses and nos and create plenty of support so that you can spend your entire life all day, every day, doing only what you love and loving everything that you do so that you truly experience heaven on earth. I have such better leverage and value to be here serving my people than to be down there prepping my own food or trying to pressure my wife to prep it for me. So enough on that. I'm going to get back on course here. I'm going to recommit to teaching the initial content. And I look forward to enjoying that as soon as I get done teaching you guys. My mouth is watering. So what you also just witnessed me do was being authentic and presencing what was for me. Had I ignored and tried to act like my support hadn't come in and that there wasn't this yummy food in here, it would be on my mind and I would have lost power and presence and it would have affected my presentation with you. So being present and presencing what is a great shift move to get you in a place of power. And that one's not even listed on here, but all of these other shift moves are a version of presencing yourself in the moment, consciously, versus in the past or the future. Futurizing, and I made up a made-up word, pasteurizing, gets us stuck in a place of non-power, non-presence, non-joy. So feel your feelings, guys. And the joy, the thing I was telling you about this is feelings are nothing more than a reaction to our thoughts. We think a thought, which is kind of an electrical system within our brain, firing through the wires, electrical currents that trigger memories and pull up stuff and combine and work together with each other. And then that triggers what's called the hypothalamus in the center of our brain that pumps out peptides, which are essentially hormones and proteins that go down through our bloodstream into the cells all over our body, locking in, creating sensations and feelings. And that energy, if we are present with it, will burn up within 10 to 30 seconds. No matter what you feel, you could be so incredibly angry. You could be ready to kill somebody. You could be ready to kill yourself. And if you just stopped and breathed for 10 to 30 seconds and fully felt and was present with those feelings, not adding fuel to the fire, not continuing to feed bullshit stories in and your victim drama stories into the fire, because that just keeps fueling it and then you spiral into drama, but instead just stopping, quieting the mind, breathing, and being fully present with the feelings and sensations, then they will burn up, they will dissipate, and the energy that was the peptide that locked into the receptor site on the cell vibrates, burns up, and goes away. Now, if you ignore those feelings, it goes down, becomes stuck, and rather than being in the flow, it becomes damned or stopped in progress, and now we have blocked negative energy that we continue to store within the confines of our body and our psyche, which affect our memories, it affects our viewpoint on the world, it helps us make drama out of future situations. Literally, people will wire their brain to think love equals pain. There's even songs, love hurts, love hurts. That's just wiring. That's something someone made up that they've chosen to believe that's become their reality, when the truth was, if they were to take 100% responsibility, they wouldn't say love hurts, they would say, I hurt when I withdraw my love for myself because I think someone else withdrew their love for me because they chose not to be with me or they chose to be with someone else. I hurt myself when I withdraw love. Love doesn't hurt. Withdrawing love hurts. Taking a breath. Okay, so speaking authentically, describing a body sensation, a feeling, or a thought. So I might, instead of saying you're a bitch, which is totally arguable, I might speak unarguably by saying, I notice that my chest feels heavy and my neck feels tight. And I'm feeling incredibly sad and scared and angry. And I'm having the thought that you really don't care about me. And I know that's just a thought, but I just wanted to voice that that's a thought I'm thinking right now. And so we can speak unarguably and speak powerfully in a way that expresses what's going on for us without blaming, without attacking, without criticizing, without projecting negativity onto the people in our world, and without sending that negative frequency and ripple out into the universe that's just going to come back to us. So now matching is similar to making it bigger, but it's just basically like, if I'm tense, be tense, consciously, not unconsciously. If I'm angry, be angry and express it, not lashing out and hurting people and creating lose-win, but like, I'm super angry right now, I'm going to go do a workout, I'm going to beat up a boxing bag, I'm going to go freak out and break some stuff, but not stuff that costs me money, not stuff that costs me more than I want to cost me. You know, I'm not just going to unconsciously go unleash and have it create what I don't want. I'm going to express it and match it in a way that aligns with what I do want, so that I'm truly in integrity with myself. And then we have persona play, which we'll get further into, and then we have conscious listening. So rather than justifying and defending and attacking and criticizing and holding our position, we just generously listen. Tell me more. How do you feel? What is it you most want? Got it. Thank you. I appreciate the feedback, etc. So again, we could go on for days, and I look forward to the opportunity to get you guys out to some live events and go through experiential learning of every one of these. In the meantime, take what you've learned today and start applying it, and you will get experiential learning by applying it in your life. So those are the shift moves. Now, these personas, this is a sheet called Identifying Personas. Oh, and I didn't mention earlier, I was starting to give credit to my mentors. Some of the greatest mentors I've ever had in my life are Gay and Kathleen Hendricks. No, they're not gay, although they are gay friendly, and so am I. But their names are Gay Hendricks and Kathleen Hendricks. And they just the most amazing work, and the best thing I ever did in my life to transform my world was do the work of Gay and Kathleen Hendricks. Now, I will guide you guys through everything that I learned with them, as well as everything that I've learned on 100 other journeys with 100 other mentors and countless hours and dollars spent. So it's just priceless. But I want to acknowledge them for the contribution they made to my life. I would not be here today. I would not be alive today if it wasn't for them. And I certainly would not be happy and prosperous and have epic relationships and health and have accomplished everything that I've accomplished had I not chose to invest in myself, and in particularly through them. Best choice I ever made in my life. So, identifying personas. I'm going to post all of these handouts today in our group so that you guys will all have access to these. I would encourage you to either print this one, probably print all of these out, print this one out, or just write it down on a separate sheet of paper, or however you want to capture it. Do it on your computer if you want to save the paper. Identify your top personas. Identify your top 5 or 10 personas. This sheet has 7 spots. Just identify, and when I talk about personas, these are things that are not your essence. What I want you to consider is when mining, they may have a dump truck the size of a house that is filled up with ore and dirt and rock and all this stuff, and they run it through this refinement process, and when they're all done, they may have a chunk of gold the size of my fist. And this is who you are. You've got this essence at your core, your spirit, your soul level, this core of who you are, which is pure love, pure potential, pure power, pure light, pure perfection. It's everything amazing. And then you have all these survival patterns and characters that you took on to get you through life, to survive elementary school, to survive your first day of school, to survive getting teased by the other kids, to survive your parents' trauma and shit that they've got passed on to them from their parents, and on and on. So looking at your personas and realizing where are you running on conditioned patterns and who are you really at the core. Know the truth of who you truly are. So and that is the truth that will set you free. So personas could be a perfectionist, a know-it-all, like an Eeyore persona of poor me, victim persona, a why does it always go bad or go against me, or a scarcity persona, or a judger persona, or a hypocrite, or a procrastinator, or anything that you've learned as a survival mechanism. So start to identify your top personas that are not your true power, your true essence, your true nature, and start to list them out. And then on top of that, once you know what those are, and it helps to name them funny names. So I might name it like Perfectionist Paul, or Pathetic Patricia, or Can't Do It Cami, or Holier Than Thou Art Holly, or whatever. Just anything that can make it fun and playful so that you're not trying to get rid of it. You are embracing it and playing with it and learning from it. So write down a list of the top personas that you tend to go to. And then write down, so if you were to do it on this sheet, write down the persona on the top half of the circle, and then below the line, write down what tribe it comes from. And what I mean by tribe is victim, villain, or hero. So each persona tends to come from one of those tribes. And then if you were to tally up, say, your top 5 or top 10, probably better top 10 personas, and see what tribes each of those come from. You might have, say, 5 victims and 3 heroes and 2 villains, or whatever. It's going to be different for every person. Then you can see where you tend to go based on your conditioning and your operating system that was handed down to you. Do you tend to go to victim? Do you tend to go to villain? Do you tend to go to hero first? Now, we also have primary and secondary personas. Primary persona is what we go to first. So I may go to an intellectual know-it-all persona on level 1, and then if you don't respond the way I want you to, I may freak out and go to a screw you, you suck persona. So pay attention to which one do you go to initially, and then if that gets you your way, cool, you just carry on in your drama thinking you're smart. And if it doesn't get you your way, then what do you go to? What's your secondary persona as your backup plan? Then typically if we go through and persona 1 doesn't work and then persona 2 doesn't work, then we actually tend to get to essence by we'll fall apart and actually express what's going on for us instead of continuing to put on our masks and play our fronts and our conditioned patterns. So list those out and turn those in on the board in the group forum so that we can see what tribe you're from and what your top personas are and what fun names you come up with, and begin to play with those. Now, the next thing I want you to look at is this persona interview. This is something you can do with each other, role-playing on calls. You can do this with your coach. You can do this with a partner, a friend, anyone who will support you in a persona interview. So we're running out of time, so boy, I don't want you really playing with this too much without being empowered on how to do it in the most effective way. But you can start to ask really get into the persona, any given persona. Don't ask it from you. Ask the questions to the persona and call the persona by name. So it could be, so, perfect Patty, what's the most important thing to you? Well, to do everything right. Okay, perfect Patty, what are you most proud of? I'm most proud that I'm super intelligent and I always do shit right. Okay, perfect Patty, when did you make your first appearance? When I was 3. Blah, blah, blah happened. Got it. Perfect. And perfect Patty, who did you learn your style from? My mom. Got it. Okay, perfect Patty, what are you most afraid of? Of doing it wrong and not being loved. And that I'm not worthy or not worth it. And I'm not valuable if I don't do it perfect. Got it. And perfect Patty, what do you most want? I most want to be loved and accepted for who I am. Oh, got it. That's what's going on here. So there's critical insights that free us from the personas by doing these persona interviews. The ideal way is to envision an imaginary circle in front of you on the ground, have 2 people, one person to be the interviewer and one person being the interviewee. The person getting interviewed would step into the imaginary circle. When they get in that circle, they take on the breathing patterns of that persona. They take on the body posture of that persona. They take on the mannerisms of that persona. They take on the voice of that persona. They take on the beliefs and the energy and the vibration of that persona and totally embody that persona while they're being interviewed so that they answer those questions from that place and get the insights to free themselves to truly know, so that you can truly know yourself. So we will cover this in more depth moving forward, but this is an incredibly powerful tool moving forward to free you and your clients from your crap and your loved ones. So make sure you post questions about any of this moving forward in the group, as you know, always here to answer your questions and assist you with all of this. Okay, this final handout, and we are 1 minute past the hour. This is directly tied to the drift and shift learning cycle we talked about earlier and how good you can stand it. There is only one problem in all of life, and that is how good can you stand life before you do something to sabotage it and destroy it and bring you back down into the drama. And the only solution to changing this pattern, and maybe that's not true, but the powerful solution to changing the pattern, and instead of having a roller coaster life of just up, down, up, down, up, down, same stuff, different day, is to, when you notice the drift, catch it as quickly as possible, create the shift, and begin an upward expansion of spending more and more time in the expansion, the joy, the love, the heaven, the peace, the ease, the flow, the genius, the spaciousness, the aliveness, the vitality. So this is founded on a principle of a thermostat setting of, you have an internal subconscious thermostat setting of how good you can handle life. And you can reprogram that thermostat setting. And say in your house, if the thermostat set at a 70-degree temperature, it may drop down to 68 and then the heater kicks on, and it may go up to 72 and then the air conditioner kicks on, but it maintains about 70. Same in your life with your finances, with your relationships, with your spirituality, with everything. You have a thermostat setting of how good you can stand it. And if you learn how to consciously shift your state of being and go up, instead of just repeating up, down, up, down, up, down, and allowing your life to just be at the effect of the law of averages, because the law of averages determines your thermostat setting. However much time you spend at a perfect 10 day is how much more time you will spend there. However much time you spend at a 2 or a 3 or a miserable 4 or 2 or whatever, you are setting your thermostat setting down there. So the more time you spend in negativity, the more negativity you get, and the more you become addicted to that state of being. So consciously choosing and committing to up level, to take your life to the highest possible places, and to manage that through your state of being from moment to moment by catching the drift and committing to and creating the shift upward to a higher frequency, a higher vibration, a higher level of being. Then you open up more opportunities, more joy, more peace, more connection, more love, more passion, more money. And this applies to your bank account. This applies to everything. If you're accustomed to making 10 grand a month and you don't do something to shift your state of being and your thermostat, you will continue to be there. So knowing this is the foundation, the foundational stuff that allows you to be at choice with your life and quit being at the effect of your life. This allows you to set your own thermostat setting, to remove the limits, to remove the lid, the cap, and just free yourself to remove the invisible ceiling that keeps you held up and stopped by choosing from moment to moment to moment to shift up, shift up, shift up, so that you can handle higher and higher levels of positivity and love and light and positive energy on longer and longer sustained periods of time. It is a choice. You are the creator of your life. It's up to you. All right. Hope you're all hanging in there. Just seeing your faces for the first time for a while. Been looking at all the handouts. Look forward to reading your comments. We're past the hour. Watch this replay. And I will see you on the boards. Thank you very much. I love you. Bless your worlds. Create the best of everything. Remove the limits. You deserve to have it all. You are meant to have it all. You were created to have it all. You can have it if you commit and create it and master these skill sets. Right now, everything I taught you today will be in the corner over there behind me of life happens by me. But as you learn and integrate and master these mindsets and skill sets, life will begin to happen through you. I love you. Create an amazing day.